And a good Saturday morning, everyone, May 6, 2023, and we welcome you in to Long Beach City College here in Long Beach, California for day 2 of our second event of the 2023 season. 4 more matches on tap for you today, beginning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'm Ira Thor, he's Noah Chess, Nick England, and I don't see Matt Prosser. Matt Prosser and his 6'7" height will join us later to coach the Stunners. However, he has family obligations today, so not part of the morning show. We'll share his picks live on the air because he's in first place right now at 13-3 overall. Let's take a look at today's matches. 4 teams that did not play yesterday that had byes will be on the court today. We start with 2 teams that did not play yesterday. That's the LA Blaze coming in at 0-2 on the year, 1 point on the season, and the New Jersey Freedom, who look just as sharp this year as they did last regular season when they went unbeaten. They're 2-0 with a maximum of 6 points. Noah, your thoughts on a match there, and Nick as well, where I think we both believe it could be very one-sided, or can LA Blaze maybe show us something that they haven't yet?
Yeah, so I think when you see this matchup, this is one of those polar opposites where Freedom is a very system-oriented team. They've all been playing together for the better part of 8 years. Their blocking scheme, well-established. They know what their passing line looks like. You know what the team's going to come out and do. And I've got to be honest, we talked about it at Event 1. We've seen these guys for 3, 5, 6 years. This is the best I've ever seen. Some of the guys that are not like they're young bloods, but like Matt Seifert, Joe Norman, they're playing some of the best volleyball I've ever seen them play by noticeable amounts. So that system, well developed, polished. Side of LA Blaze, they basically rebuilt their roster. They're one of the 3 teams that was still in the league that kind of just scrapped it and started back over. And they're playing a lot of that kind of out of system, play that funky, very just aggressive and very wild volleyball. And it's going to be the meeting of 2 worlds. So I'm very excited to see. I don't have any idea. Again, it's always a lot easier to feel like experience is going to matter, but we'll see how these 2 go.
He's waving to the New Jersey Freedom, and
he's a homer. He's a homer.
I'm the one from Jersey. I'm supposed to be the homer, no?
I'm saying hi. I'm being polite.
Okay. Okay.
I will say this about the Freedom. I mean, we've got guys who've historically have had injuries. Joe Norman, you already mentioned, has had back injuries that he's been dealing with for years, and he looked as fresh this year as he's getting close to 30 as he ever has before. Yeah. So that's a dangerous sign for what this team could be down the road.
Absolutely.
So our 12 o'clock match is, well, Matt will be with us because he will be coaching the OC Stunners as they take on the Southern Exposure Stunners out of the National Central. They're 2-1 on the year, 5 points. They were able to steal a win yesterday from Chicago that was, well, very much in that match, that very lucky not to have gone 5. Southern Exposure had a bye yesterday, 1-1, 3 points out of the Coastal. Noah?
Yeah, it's another match that's sort of similar to their match yesterday with that Chicago Untouchables team. The Southern Exposure kind of rebranded a little bit in terms of their roster, young, fresh new names, who I think at that last event surprised some people and maybe even surprised themselves with how well they competed.
Yeah.
Talking to some of those guys, Tyler Hubbard-Neal, one of the only remaining Exposure, one of the few players who's on the team from last year, they said, hey, we're in there. We can hang with these international guys and these top-tier teams. And so they sort of were awakened to their talent level last event. And the Stunners, after that win over Exposure, Shane Beamer told me, I didn't like that win. That was a bad win, but a win's a win. And so I think they're looking to maybe find a clean slate today. So it'll be another, I think, similar intensity match to what we saw with Stunners Untouchables for that matchup.
Again, that match yesterday against the Stunners, 29-27. That one of those matches goes the other way. We're talking about a 5-set match between a Chicago team that we really don't think of as a playoff championship contender this year, and a Stunner team that we expect to be in that final weekend perhaps.
And a quick note on that, with Python starting at 0-3, Untouchables gets that win and they go 2-1. All of a sudden, what our expectations were on how some of that playoff picture really starts to formulate, it flips on its head, I think. Yeah. Chicago feels like they're on the rise. Their stock is definitely increasing, while Pythons has a lot of us scratching our head. And those are the 2 teams that are really going to be potentially competing for that last playoff spot behind Tyrants, Freedom, Stunners.
Thing with expectations, some of these teams have rebuilt themselves and are completely new identities this year. So the expectations we might have to throw out the window after 2 events are complete, and we have a chance to really kind of gauge what these teams really are about this year. So our 3 o'clock match, a team that stock is certainly on the rise, and that's the Inland Empire Matadors. They are surprising everybody right now, and they'll take on the Philadelphia Founders. They're 0-3 right now, have yet to collect a point. but they look really good for an 0-3 team. No, you know a lot about that Philadelphia side. I mean, yesterday Jeff Nelson had a great match. He had 12 kills. Peter Damiatko had 14 kills. They continue to get production out of Nate Reynolds. He had 9 kills, 4 blocks. What do you think for them to finally get in that win column today is going to be most important?
Well, it's a team that they run their offense through their middles, right? Nate Reynolds, an all-American middle. He's fantastic. And they're starting to get their pin attack a little bit more involved. They simplified their offense. And you saw it paying off yesterday.
Yeah, it did.
Obviously, having Pio Damiatko is a huge benefit. And this is, on paper, they have the size mismatch against the Matadors. They're a much bigger team, and they have a chance to exploit them at the net. We've seen the Matadors, though, sort of turn that on its head versus every team they've played. So on paper, this is the match, the first match of the season that the Founders feel like they should win. But I don't know.
I don't feel so confident.
Exactly. So I think it's kind of a, big and fundamental versus small and scrappy, and David versus Goliath. And I think really in the chances, it could be 50-50.
I mean, I think this is the one time you can say in volleyball, size doesn't matter.
Right.
Because you look at the Matadors and you look at their front line, you're like, well, they shouldn't be able to get block touches at anybody. Yesterday, in the victory against the Pythons, they had 19 block points. 19 block points for a team that's front row maybe averages 6'1". I mean, no one
on a good day wearing big shoes.
Yeah, Noah and I could probably, add some size to the roster. 19 block points yesterday. They continue to get incredible production from Cesar Medina, who's been a 2-time man of the match for them.
He's a baller.
I mean, you're seeing a player that is exceeding all expectations in this league. Has been one of the most productive so far.
Yeah.
That's a match that, maybe Philadelphia is able to finally get in the win column, but it's not going to be easy for the Matadors to give away a match that right now they're playing with so much energy that I think other teams, they might have size advantage. The Matadors will come out with more energy from what I have seen from any team in the league so far. All right, so that takes us to 6 p.m. Another intriguing matchup. We have a Chicago Untouchables squad that comes in. They're 1-2 on the year, but they very easily could be 2-1 right now, or even better than that. And then the Utah Stingers had a bye yesterday. They come in at 1-1, 3 points out of the American Central. Nick, your thoughts?
This is going to be one of the hardest ones to gauge because, again, Chicago stock increasing big time. We're seeing a lot of pieces there, very successful. If they can iron out a couple of those hiccups, they're in a great spot. Alternatively, Stingers maybe didn't have the event one they hoped. They went 1-1, but they're going to be adding a couple more pieces this weekend. They're going to have a new setter. I believe they're going to have both Coburn brothers here. So it's going to be a lot of firepower. I think Enoble Romero is literally landing from an international contract from Greece, if I'm not mistaken, landed in LA and showed up. He is going to be tired, but that guy does not slack, so he's going to show up and ball out. But again, what they can all do, not a lot of reps together, show up and put it on the court. It's two teams that's really hard. I think that's going to be the match of the day in terms of trying to figure out who's really going to take that one, because there's so many unknown variables and there is so much room for not necessarily improvement, but just kind of X factor takeover. There's so many guys that we're looking at going, who's going to show up today? So very excited for that one. Great one to cap the day off.
Absolutely.
So maybe we should make our picks. First of all, before we make our picks, let me check my text, see if Matt Prosser has submitted his picks, and he has. So I will share them at the end, so we are not, getting any hints that we could, try to catch Matt with. So I don't think that would be fair. So
says the individual who just looked at the text.
Wait a second. I just made sure that there's actually a text there. All I saw, he picked the Freedom, but I think that's okay because I think we are too. By the way, teams that are off today, the Wild and the Ramblers, who probably need a day to recover after that 39-37 set yesterday, the second longest set.
Keep it moving, Ira.
History. I'm sorry, did I touch a nerve? And the Pythons and Tyrants also have the day off. The Tyrants are now 3-0 on the year. So we start with the Blaze and the Freedom. I'll pick first. It's going to be New Jersey.
Well, maybe. Before we start, I want to do some investigative reporting.
What do you want to investigate?
Carlo, is Joe here? No. Okay. So no Joe Norman for this event. If
I'm
that factors in at all.
picking the New Jersey Freedom. Thanks for the inside intel, Carlo. Live here on NVA Today Morning Show.
All right, so no Joe Norman. I still think as a team, they're too solid, too fundamental, too strong of a block. I think they're going to miss his presence, and the Blaze might be able to exploit that a little bit, but I'm still going to roll with the Freedom.
It's impossible not to miss his presence, but they have enough on that bench to make up for it.
Yeah. Ditto. Freedom.
That was pretty easy.
I mean, there's nothing left to be said.
Yeah.
And I know Matt picked Freedom from reading the first sentence of the text, and I'll look at the other picks in a second. All right, so we have Stunners Southern Exposure, 12 p.m. Noah?
You know, again, it's really giving me similar vibes. Pick up your paper, Ira. As yesterday's match with Chicago, I think it'll be feisty. The Exposure will be in it, but I think the Stunners, again, have too much talent, too much experience, and I think they really want to clean up the feeling they had after yesterday's match. So I'm going to roll with the Stunners again.
Yeah, I think that Stunners is not happy with how that one went, and I don't think that these are the kind of matches where Stunners, an angry Stunners on day 2 about how day 1 went playing against a team that's kind of still forming and norming a little bit. I think Stunners is ready to take this one.
We know Matt's not picking against his team, so we know he's taking the Stunners. I'll just write that down. And I mean, this is a tough one for me. Last time I picked against Southern Exposure, I had to eat some crow because I was wrong, and they pulled off an upset. So
maybe you should go with Southern Exposure and give me a chance to just sneak my way back in, because your boy is really struggling after yesterday's picks.
Well,
Take a leap of faith.
Since he
It worked out yesterday.
put it that way, I'm going to take the Stunners.
Ah.
All right, so
fun, Ira.
we go to 3 p.m. and it is the Matadors against the Founders. Nick,
I was hearing Noah describe kind of his take on that breakdown, and I think right now, if you're not all in on Matadors, you're crazy. If Cesar Medina's on the court, I'm all in. I'm bought in. There's a lot of talent that's maybe unknown to some of the Americans here, but like they have a lot of South American kind of just different national teams represented, and you can see it. That team they're balling out right now, and I'm taking Matadors for sure.
it is a bull market, and I am buying a lot of Matador stock right now.
Nice.
Matadors, ole, ole.
Yes.
As I mentioned, of all the matches they've played on paper, this is one the Founders have the best shot at. But I'm not going to go 0-3 in picks against the Matadors, and I'm not going to be a homer, so I'm going to roll with the red-hot Matadors.
And I'll tell you Matt's pick in a moment, and we have one last pick to go. And wow, this is one where I think we may have some differences. Chicago Untouchables, Utah Stingers could end up being our match of the day. Noah.
Yeah, I think it will be our match of the day. I don't know everyone that's coming here for the Stingers today, so it might be a little bit different than what I saw event 1. But I know what I saw from Chicago yesterday, and they have the firepower, they have the talent. They just need to find that sort of edge late in games to stick with it and pull through. And you know what? I think this is the game they do it. They're going to lean on Josh Blair in the middle. He's going to be a monster. And I'm going to roll with the Chicago Untouchables.
I think it's a safe bet. When you look at what a matchup traditionally that Stingers have struggled with, it is in the middle. So it's, I think that also the pins on the Stingers are just so exceptional. So you kind of have like these two teams, what they do well is what the other team struggles a bit more with. And so it makes it really hard. I think that Stingers is going to come back, though. I think the talent they've got there, they're going to use some experience here. And I'm a little concerned that what we saw maybe get exposed from Untouchables. I want to double down. I spent all last season constantly picking Untouchables. I was their #1 supporter, but I think this time I just can't take them there. So Stingers for me.
I want to take Chicago after what I saw yesterday. I actually certainly believe in their ability to surprise some teams this year. They have, Blair by himself right now.
Most offensive middle in the league.
Yeah, if we give out a Rookie of the Year award, he is certainly going to have his name in that equation. But however, with Utah,
offensive, not offensive.
I think he can do both, actually.
He might be.
Offensively right now, Blair is right now just bombing balls out of the middle. I'll say this, Utah having yesterday off, I think works to their favor. Yeah. They're going to be the fresher team. Chicago played a little bit later of a match yesterday. I'm going to go with Utah here with a little bit of a question mark, but I don't want to...
Question marks don't count.
Yeah, they don't count? Well, so I get half a point if I'm right. I get only half a point if I'm wrong.
Utah Stingers.
It's like a five-set match, right? You get a point no matter what. I'm taking Utah. Throw the question mark out the window. Stingers will win today. All right, time to reveal Matt's picks as we go to the text messages. And here, just so I'm not making it up, Freedom, Stunners, Founders, and Untouchables for Matt Prosser.
With all of our picks.
So Matt's trying to join me at the bottom of the day is what I'm thinking.
All right.
All right, so Matt's picks have been recorded. He'll join us for one match today as the head coach of the Orange County Stunners. But that's it here on May 6th for our morning show. Join us. We got 4 matches on tap beginning at 9 a.m. Pacific, and we culminate at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern tonight, our 4th and final match. And then we got 4 more tomorrow, so good weekend of volleyball out here in Long Beach. If you're in the area, come on by, plenty of seats available, and come out and support the NVA. We'll see you later.